Beautiful fall Sunday afternoon. Welcome to Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Last year, the Green Bay Packers finished second in their division, the NFC Central at 8-8. The New England Patriots also second, AFC East 9-7. This preseason, the Packers and Patriots both have identical records of 1-3 after suffering many injuries up front. The weather conditions this afternoon are absolutely perfect and shouldn't have any effect on the ball game. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Hill, along with John Dockery. And John, the 85 season about to begin. New hopes and new expectations.
Hope springs eternal for both these clubs that are trying to get into the playoff picture. They were respectable last year. This year, they're trying to turn the corner, Jim.
The Packers have won the toss and have elected to receive. Tony Franklin, all set to kick off before the Patriots. Walt Stanley, number 87, and Gary Ellerson, number 42, set to receive for the Packers. And the 66th season is underway of the NFL. The ball bounces at about the 6 and goes into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the Packers will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Starting offensive unit for the Green Bay Packers, led by the veteran quarterback Lynn Dickey. Up front, Ken Rutgers, the rookie from USC, starting in an offensive line that's really been hurt this year. A crowd of about 50,000 expected this afternoon, as the Packers really want to pick up where they left off last year when they finished the season winning 7 of their last 8. 1st and 10, Lynn Dickey at quarterback. Here's a toss back to Gary Ellis. Andre Tippett and Steve Nelson in on the tackle for the New England Patriots. The starting defensive unit for the Patriots, Ken Sims from the University of Texas, leading them up front, says this is his year to really get things going. A group of fine linebackers led by Andre Tippett, who had 18 sacks last season. And the secondary is led by All-Pro number 26, Raymond Claiborne. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10. The handoff to Jesse Clark. Clark is tackled by Larry McGrew and Don Blackman.
To say I'm shocked to see the Packers run the ball 2 plays in a row is an understatement. If the Packers are going to win this afternoon, they must put points on the board the way they know how to do best, and that's through the air with Dickey going to Lofton, Epps, and Kaufman.
Well, John, Harlan Huckabee has just checked into the ball game now, along with Preston Denard. 3rd and 9. Our ball game just underway from Foxborough, Massachusetts. Another running play. How surprised are you, John?
Very surprised. Dickey, for the last couple of years in the league, has been the best quarterback other than Marino and yards production. Forrest Gregg obviously wants to prove that he can run the ball against the Patriots. He ran it 3 times on his first drive, and the Pack has to give it away. I'm shocked because of their high-powered offensive passing game to see them run 3 times on the first drive.
Well, the Packers are going to have to give the ball up now. Joe Prupko is in to punt. And the ever-dangerous Irving Fryer is back to receive for the Patriots. Now, you talk about a true game breaker. That's exactly what Irving Fryer is right here. Not a good punt at all. Fryer gets the ball at about his 34-yard line, gets up to about the 35 to 36.5-yard line. Tackle there made by Ronnie Burgess. So now the New England Patriots will take over. Hurt all year long. They're missing John Hanna, their outstanding All-Pro. Here's Tony Eason. And the handoff goes to Craig James. James to the left side. Tackle there made by John Anderson and Charles Martin. Defensive alignment for the Green Bay Packers. Ezra Johnson is the leader up front. He's trying to come back after that operation on his back where he had a herniated disc. The linebackers have been together a long time. They're small, but Mike Douglas told us yesterday, we're going to beat the Patriots. And in the secondary, they're led by Mark Murphy. Pick up a 4. It is 2nd and 6. That's Fryer in motion. And Eason is back to pass. Throws to the near sidelines, and it is complete. Pass is complete to Cedric Jones. Knocked out of bounds by Mark Lee.
And it seems to be obvious from the very beginning what both teams are going to do. Forrest Gregg ran the ball 3 times. What does New England do? They come out throwing right now. Raymond Berry's philosophy is to use balance, get the ball upfield with his quarterback, Tony Eason. You might be surprised to know that Tony Eason was the 3rd-rated quarterback in the NFL last year, behind such names as Marino and Montana.
So it is enough yardage for the first down. The ball just into Packer territory. Inside handoff. This is Tony Collins. Nice pickup before tackle by John Anderson. And I think back to when we talked to Raymond Berry yesterday. He said he wanted his offense to be really unpredictable.
And he certainly did. He wants to mix the run with the pass. Take a look at it from the end zone here. Watch the blocking that he gets. Right there, number 52 overruns the ball. That's George Cumbie inside, and that gives running room.
That's a pickup of 12 yards. Another first down for the Patriots at the Packer 39-yard line. Good protection for Eason. Rolls out into the flat. It's complete to James. James bumped out of bounds at about the Packer 25-yard line by Tim Lewis, but there is a flag on the play. And it looks like it is holding. That's the preliminary call against New England. But we are seeing, John, where the Patriots are coming out, and they're on the attack.
They are definitely on the attack, and Raymond Berry told us that. He's really a defensive-minded coach.
Number 76, offense, still first down.
That penalty is against Brian Holloway.
When I say defensive-minded coach, I mean he has an offensive philosophy, and a defensive philosophy for playing offense. Be aggressive, take it to the defense, make things happen.
But, of course, there are a lot of people, knowing Raymond Berry's background as a receiver, they feel automatically he's going to throw the ball a lot. And the Patriots have 3 wide receivers in the ballgame. Little mix-up, but they get everything all settled. Eason back, throwing across the middle, complete to Irving Fryer. Fryer gets loose. First down, Patriots.
Irving Fryer may be New England's version of James Lofton. He has incredible speed. Take a look at it from the end zone. There was a little confusion. Eason took his time. He got good protection, and he found Fryer coming over the middle in the seam between the defensive backs. Fryer makes the catch. Good for about 25 yards.
And another first down for the Patriots, who are really on the move. 10 minutes and 35 seconds left to go in the opening period. Tony Collins and Craig James in the backfield for the Patriots. And it's a reverse to Fryer. Fryer trying to bully his way down towards the 10-yard line before he's finally tackled by Tom Flynn.
Just another example of the offense here in New England under Raymond Berry. Last year, they played that one-back offense. This year, they're going to come up with tricky plays, razzle-dazzle. How many times have you seen Green Bay do this with James Lofton? They give the ball to a really quick, good-running receiver on the reverse. He picks up good yardage for the first down.
As a matter of fact, 13 yards, John. You know, the Patriots were telling us yesterday and the day before that they feel their offense will really explode today, and so far it has. At the 11-yard line. A handoff to Tony Collins. Back to the near sidelines. He's at the 10. And he scores. An 11-yard touchdown run by Tony Collins, and it was absolutely outstanding.
The cutback was outstanding, but also the missed tackles by the Packers. Take a look at number 55. Coming up right here, Randy Scott, he shrugged off. And now watch Collins make Mark Lee miss. Shrugs him off, takes it into the end zone. So while it was a fine run by Collins, it was a terrible defensive effort by the Packers.
And you can be sure the defensive people from the Packers will hear about that from Forrest Gregg. But Tony Franklin is in to attempt the extra point conversion for the Patriots. Eason is set to hold. So after the 11-yard run, The New England Patriots have a 7-0 lead over the Green Bay Strike, and now it's time to head out to sea. Well, right now, the sea is nice and smooth for the Patriots.
Absolutely. He got out to sea under full steam in that first drive. Nice balance. Eason running the ball, throwing the ball. Collins, nice touchdown run, 11 yards.
Here's Tony Franklin kicking off for New England. Gary Allison coming out from about a yard inside the end zone. Ellison gets over the 25 to about the 26-yard line. Faust is in the last year of his contract there with the Notre Dame team, and the people there are already starting to really put a lot of pressure on him. But right now the pressure's on the Packers. They trail by 7. 1st and 10 at their own 25. That's Philip Epps in motion. The pass, a quick pass to Epps. And he's tackled immediately by Andre Tippett.
You know, I thought the emotional level would go the other way. I thought that Green Bay would have emotional level, but instead, Andre Tippett and the New England Patriots come out on fire. Take a look at it right here. Finally, Green Bay decides to throw the ball. Little fake, try to get it to Epps in the open field, but Tippett, too quick, brings him down for a loss.
Of 4 yards, as a matter of fact, and now it's 2nd and 14. And as we talked to the Patriots yesterday, they were nice, loose, relaxed, had fire in their eyes, and it's been displayed so far this afternoon. Well, I tell you what, the Patriots are really coming with fire in their eyes. The pass was intended for Paul Kaufman, but there was Don Blackman who got a hand up in Dickey's face.
You know, the Patriots do not have a major pass rush from their up-front men, Sims, Owens, and Williams. They rely on their linebackers, Tippett, and that time Blackman was in Dickey's face. He got rid of the ball quickly. Actually, one of the backs should have been looking for the ball as a safety valve. He wasn't, so he just threw it away wisely.
And that particular time, they took advantage of the inexperience of Ken Rutgers, the rookie from USC, who's playing on that left side and has a start. So it's 3rd and 14 for the Packers. 3 wide receivers in for Green Bay, and Dickey's back to pass. The blitz is on. Throwing deep. Oh, what a catch by Preston Denard. Oh, my goodness. Preston Denard, who the Packers just picked up from the Buffalo Bills a couple of weeks ago. And remember, Dickey told us he has been absolutely great coming in and doing exactly what the Packers need.
Well, that's what a veteran will do. He'll make that catch in his 8th year. Preston Denard knows what to do. Here, the blitz is on. He's hit after he throws the ball. Denard makes a nice adjustment on the outside, comes up with the catch.
And we just received word that Mike Douglas, number 53 of the Packers, has injured his shoulder, and he's in the locker room, probably having x-rays, and we'll have a further update on that a little bit later. But a pickup of 44 yards for the Packers. 1st and 10. Ball at the Patriot 45-yard line. Quick pass to Ellis, and he's in trouble already, hit by Don Blackman. One of the most impressive things about the Patriot secondary and their whole defensive unit, John, I think you agree, is their linebacking core. Big, strong, fast, and one of the best in the league.
And besides that, Jim, definitely, they've been playing together for about 4 years now. And Steve Nelson, in his 12th year, is the man who is like a coach on the field that settles down the young talent like the Tippetts and the Blackmans. And they are the best part of the defense of the New England Patriots.
2nd and 15 for Green Bay. Dickey going long. Oh, a super catch by Philip Epps. But it is ruled out of bounds. Philip Epps working on Raymond Claiborne on the far side.
Take a look at it again. Epps makes 2 or 3 moves. He stops, he goes, and he finally goes up and gets the ball. Claiborne had good position. But watch Epps right here. Bing goes up. And he must have stepped out of bounds sooner, Jim, because he caught the ball in bounds. I don't know why they would call it there. Unless he stepped out sooner and came back in.
It was ruled an incomplete pass, and the Packers are in the situation that they don't want to be in, where the Patriots have their nickel back in. 5 defensive backs. It's complete to Gary Ellis. Ellis gets down to about the New England 30-yard line before he's tackled by Fred Marion and Roland James.
Gary Ellis is the best weapon out of the backfield for the Green Bay Packers. A decent runner, a superior pass receiver out of the backfield. That time Dickey utilized him for the first down.
Now on the pass to Philip Epps. It was a judgment by the official that Epps was out of bounds when he made the reception. That's why it was called incomplete. But now the Packers are on the move. They have a first down. The handoff goes up the middle to the right side. Jesse Clark. Tackle is made by Toby Williams, and we're seeing just the opposite of the Packers from an offensive standpoint now, John, as opposed to the first time they had the ball.
Exactly right. They're passing the ball, and this is a situation, a classic example of what has happened in football these days, where the pass starts to set up the run. The Packers do not have a good running game.
Scores.
Look at this, New York Giants over Philadelphia 14-0. People expected that.
Tampa Bay leading Chicago.
That's a surprise.
And San Francisco over Minnesota. Not a surprise there. 2nd and 4 for the Packers. Handoff to Gary Ellis. Flag is down. It looked like it may be a face mask penalty as the Patriots coming up from the secondary were just swarming around Ellis, led by Roland James.
To be honest, Jim, the Packers are a very below-average running team without Eddie Lee Ivory, who's out with that broken thumb. It was a devastating blow, and you heard what Forrest Gregg told us yesterday.
Face mask, number 38, defense, first down.
That Eddie Lee Ivory is the only guy that can really make things happen. Take a look at it right there. Incidental, grabs on, let's go. That's why it was incidental.
But the penalty gives the Packers a first down at the Patriots' 17-yard line. 5:26 left to go in the first period. New England leading the Packers 7-0 on an 11-yard touchdown run by Tony Collins. Handoff goes off to Jesse Clark up the middle. He's tackled by Ken Sims. Kenneth Sims, a fourth-year man out of the University of Texas, who quite frankly has been having his share of controversy since coming to New England. He calls himself Game Day. And he told us yesterday this is going to be his year. He's going to quit talking so much and let his actions on the field do the speaking for him. No pickup on the play. Still 2nd and 10. Harlan Huckabee in the backfield for Green Bay. Dickey throwing down the middle, intended for Kaufman, almost intercepted.
I am so surprised to see Dickey do that. He's such a veteran, experienced quarterback. They were double-teaming Kaufman. They had single coverage on the outside on both Epps and Lofton. He had a shot going outside. Instead, he throws down the middle, and the ball was almost intercepted right there by Roland James, number 38. Instead, he just drops the ball. He had one-on-one on the outside. I look for him to come back that direction, to Lofton or Epps.
Being the veteran that he is, and with all the experience that he has on the field, you would certainly think so. The Packers have 3 wide receivers in. 3rd down and 10. Dropped by Andre Tippett.
And you would say to yourself, who else? Andre Tippett last year, 18.5 sacks. He's a down lineman on the pass rush. Take a look at him right here, Andre Tippett. Left side of your screen, he'll be coming number 56, gets away from the blocker. It's that mismatch. A smaller linebacker on a big offensive lineman, Carl Swanke. Swanke couldn't handle him, thus the sack.
And that forces a field goal situation for the Packers. Al Del Greco in. The ball will be spotted at the 30, so it will be a 40-yard attempt. And it's blocked. And there's a flag on the play. Blocked by Julius Adams.
Holding against New England.
Holding, number 60, offense, decline.
And now Forrest Gregg. And so the Patriots take over at the original line of scrimmage, which is at the 22-yard line. 1st and 10. Eason back to pass. Complete to Lynn Dawson. First contact for Green Bay is made by John Anderson.
And you get a feeling of growth when you watch Tony Eason, that he's growing, that he's more mobile, that his drop, if you look closely, last year he was a quarterback who dropped back, backpedaling. This year he's turning around and getting back quicker, and that gives him more time to look downfield and find his receivers.
That time finding Dawson, enough yardage for the first down. Inside handoff to Craig James. James bumped out of bounds by Tim Lewis.
You know, Craig James reminds me of, he's playing fullback. He's more of a halfback type. Their offense is more of two halfbacks, but he's kind of like a Franco Harris type of fullback. More of a running fullback than a blocking fullback.
Forrest Gregg has always had a direct impact on the teams that he's coached, especially in his second year there.
Look at him at Cleveland, 3-11 to 9-5, and at Cincinnati, he went from 6-10 to 12-4 and to the Super Bowl.
And so this is the second year with him at Green Bay. And the pressure is on by the Packers up front, but it's still complete. Cedric Jones is the receiver. Excellent job then by Tony Eason getting the ball away.
No doubt about it. He had tremendous pressure from Alfonso Carrick, number 76, right up the middle. But Jones did a fine job reading the blitz, and Eason got rid of the ball. Take a look at it right here. He's just coming over the middle underneath. And good thing he was looking right now, because Eason had to throw the ball. And the defender was too loose on him also. In that situation where you know you have pressure, you got to get a little tighter on the receiver.
Well, I think they're a little afraid of his speed, and that's why they're taking advantage of the underneath passes.
Defensive backs can't play with fear. You know that.
You have to get rid of that element, or they'll be blown out here real early. 1st and 10. The toss back goes to James again, trying to get to the outside. Goes out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. Knocked out of bounds there by Mark Murphy and Randy Scott.
You know, Forrest Gregg last week was very unhappy the way his team, we'll get in a minute. Look at Atlanta 7-0 over Detroit in the first quarter.
And here, Pittsburgh leading Indianapolis. It is Kansas City over New Orleans. And Seattle over Cincinnati. All of those are first quarter scores. All of those 7-0.
I want to pick up on Forrest Gregg, what he told us about last week's Packer game against the Jets, right after this play.
It is 2nd and 7. Here's Eason back to pass again. It's complete to Tony Collins out of the backfield. Collins gets to the 45-yard line for Green Bay. Tackle made by Tim Lewis.
And you see the poor tackling by Green Bay. Last week, the Green Bay defense looked like chicken soup against the Jets. They were absolutely horrible, and Forrest Gregg told them that. That's why I expected them today to come out with a little more fire. They haven't. Jim, they were terrible last week, and they're picking up where they left off. They're not tackling, they're not hitting, they're not aggressive.
And they're doing just the opposite of what all the players were telling us that Forrest Gregg wants out of his team, and that is tough, rough, aggressive people, both on offense and defense.
And he also said you'll either play or you won't be here.
Well, the Packers had better get to going real quick, even though they trail 7-0. The Patriots are on the move. Robert Weathers. Weathers bumped out of bounds by Tim Lewis and Tom Flynn, and it appears to me like that New England is just saying, hey, we're just going to let it all hang out. And it was like Andre Tippett told us yesterday. He said the opening game of the season sets the tone for the rest of the year.
No, and Robert Weathers, you saw his graphic there, over 5 yards a carry, is a good one. He's a combination of Tony Collins' speed and Craig James' cutting ability and power.
Now Mosi Tutupu is in the backfield now with Weathers. Tutupu always comes in short yardage situations. 2nd and 3 for New England. And Tutupu gets the call. And he gets the first down. Tackled by John Anderson and Tom Flynn.
Jim, how in the world can a makeshift offensive line without their star player John Hanna wipe out the entire left side of the defensive line of the Green Bay Packers? In that time, that's exactly what they did. Mosi cut back and got good yardage.
Well, you know, sometimes when you lose your leader up front, like a John Hanna for the Patriots, it makes you come together a little bit more. You have to dig down a little bit deeper, and that's what the Patriots are doing right now. 1st and 10, ball at the 31 of Green Bay. Tutupu again. Tutupu gets just inside the 30-yard line before he's tackled by Guy Prather, who's replacing Mike Douglas and Ezra Johnson.
And last week against the Jets, Freeman McNeil had over 100 yards and a half of play as the Jets just ran right through the Green Bay defense. And again today, they're doing it well. They're running, they're passing, and they're just slicing right through a Green Bay defense.
And that is probably, or that is the last play of the first period. As time...
Wow, 5 for 5, 63 yards.
He's perfect so far. Play action pass. The ball is knocked down by Prather, who has replaced Mike Douglas. It was intended for Derek Ramsey.
That was a good play by Prather, number 51, covering Ramsey. Of course, Ramsey is the tight end who can catch the ball. Watch him right here. He just gets his hand up on the ball and keeps groping at the receiver so that he can't pull it in. Pulls that arm away, incompletion.
So it'll be 3rd down and 8 for the Patriots. The ball at the 29-yard line of Green Bay. The Packers now have 5 defensive backs in. And the Patriots have 3 wide receivers. Stephen Starling into the lineup now for New England as they are from the shotgun formation. The pressure's on. And Eason is finally sacked by Alfonso Carricker.
One of the problems Eason had last year in the last 4 games of the season, the time that the Patriots folded off and lost 3 of 4, was getting sacked. He was sacked 30 times because of the offensive screen. Here, right here, Ezra Johnson, the best pass rusher for the Packers, just gets by his man. Finally, right there, Carricker brings Eason down for the sack. But that has been a problem for the Patriots. They think they've corrected it. Not that time, though.
Well, Carricker, who is a player who did not have a good ball game last week against the Jets, and I'm sure he's out to really improve on that this week. Rich Camarillo in to punt for New England. Walt Stanley is back to receive deep for Green Bay. He's at the 10-yard line. Over Stanley's head into the end zone for a touchback. The ball will come out to the 20-yard line, and that's where the Packers will take over 1st and 10.
A tackle. This is only the 2nd game in his career that he's played at that position.
Lynn Dickey at quarterback for Green Bay. There's a fumble in the backfield by the Packers and a mad scramble. The handoff was to Gary Ellis. And we'll just wait for referee Bob McElwee and the rest of his officials to sort everything out. And it's a mad scramble. And the Patriots signal they have the ball, and they do. You know, one of the new rules this year, John, is on the fumbles, the last guy to come up with the ball that's the team that gets possession of it.
And Fred Marion was at the bottom of that pile groping for the ball and eventually came up with it. Let's take another look at it. Lofton never really got the handoff. See him right there? It's sort of a bad handoff underneath to number 31, Gary Ellis. It hit him on the knee, and then the ball's just, see it right there under the feet, and then it's just a battle. Who wants it? And you see right there, 31, Marion comes in late and drags the ball away from the Packers.
Well, like we said, the new rule, whoever comes up with the ball last, unlike previous years, sometimes the ball is awarded earlier. But this particular year, the Patriots get it. And here's Tony Collins trying to get to the outside. First contact made by George Cumby. The Patriots now have a golden opportunity here to really put a lot of points on the board. Collins leads. They lead the ball game now 7-0. But we're seeing the kinds of mistakes by the Packers that we know that Forrest Gregg just absolutely hates to see, and he was fearful of seeing coming into the ball game. Eason back to pass. Going for Greg Hawthorne. He gets it at the 5-yard line, but he's knocked back to about the 9-yard line. So Greg Hawthorne comes off the bench and does an excellent job.
Greg Hawthorne, you remember, look at how deep they are down here. Defensive back has no worries about a receiver running by him. Why would you play off that much? Hawthorne just underneath, and makes the reception right there.
Well, what happened is you have Mark Murphy, who's a safety, and he's playing out on a wide receiver, and a safety is very uncomfortable playing on a wide. He's out of position out there. That's why he was so far back. First and goal, ball at the 8-yard line. Hand off to Collins again. Oh, he's hitting the backfield. Randy Scott.
But it's interesting when you talk to number 33, Tony Collins. He talks about being reborn this year because last year he sat down. You remember Collins in 1983 had over 1,000 yards for the Patriots. He's hoping to get round back into that kind of form this year after sitting for the last 8 games of the year in the one-back offense.
Well, he feels more comfortable now, and he feels actually more a part of the team.
He was left out last year.
Certainly was. Had a difference of opinion with the previous coaching staff. But he says this year he's ready to regroup and return. 2nd and 11. Flags on the play. And the Packers are pointing to the Patriots as illegal motion. False start.
On the quarterback. That's what Donnie Humphrey, number 79, was saying. He said, hey, quarterback move. Look, it wasn't me. And he was right.
So the Packers will accept the penalty. But one of the things about accepting the penalty is it gives the Patriots a little more room to work with in their passing game.
Exactly. When you have a guy like Irvin Fryer, you might want that little bit of extra room so he can maneuver. Old number 82, Raymond Berry, against old number 75, Forrest Gregg. First time they're squaring off as head coaches.
It was almost a penalty. The referee started to call a penalty, but he stopped as Tony Eason called the timeout. Wise move on Eason's part. Just called the timeout. It's 2nd and goal from the 16-yard line for New England. Here's Fryer in motion. Pass intended for Cedric Jones. Covering on the play was Tim Lewis. That's what we talked about. They get the penalty, and it gives them a little more room to maneuver with as far as their passing game is concerned.
And it's just an example of Eason's philosophy. He says, I'll take the high percentage, I'll move the chains, that's what I want to do. As Steve Grogan is signaling the plays. Interesting, Berry allowed the quarterbacks to make up their own signals.
And those two working quite well together now. Grogan and Tony Eason. Eason now 6 of 8 for 71 yards. 3rd and goal. Ball at the 16-yard line of Green Bay. 6 defensive backs in now for the Packers. And here's Eason to pass. Intended for Hawthorne, who wasn't looking. John Anderson defending for Green Bay.
Hawthorne also knew he was going to be clocked. Take a look at it right here. The cornerback gives him a little bump, lets him go because they're playing zone. Right here, the ball's coming. Hawthorne does not get his head around soon enough, and his hands up. If you snap that head around, your hands naturally come up. Hawthorne, who used to be a running back at Pittsburgh, not quick enough with his hands.
And with the incompleted pass, the Patriots will now send in Tony Franklin to attempt a field goal. The ball will be placed at the 24-yard line, so it'll be a 34-yard attempt. With Eason holding. The 34-yard field goal attempt by Tony Franklin is good. So the Patriots capitalize on. So Franklin in to kick off now for New England. Walt Stanley and Gary Ellerson back to receive. This is Ellerson at the 10-yard line. He goes out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. Tackle there made by Ed Williams. Coming up next, men's singles finals at the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. Yvonne Lindell going against John McEnroe.
Ooh, that should be a good one. It's the best against the best. The number 2 seed Lindell against the number 1 seed John McEnroe. I have to wonder if McEnroe will be a little drained after playing a 5-set match yesterday in that 100+ degree heat.
But you saw him playing last week.
Oh, I saw him play. He's playing, despite some close calls at the Open, he's playing some of the best tennis of his career.
Here's Dickey as the Packers are not playing some of their best football, but the Patriots are. There he is again, Andre Tippett. Dropping Dickey back at about the 10-yard line.
Lynn Dickey is not a mobile roll-out type of quarterback. He has no mobility. He was injured last week. He had that stretched spinal cord, and he's been very soft. Take a look at it right here. Here it's a half roll. He's obviously trying to get away from the rush, but he doesn't have mobility, and Tippett and company are all over him. He has no chance to throw the ball. I'm surprised to see that.
We're told that Mike Douglas has a fractured clavicle, and he will not return. And that's the second sack for Tippett this season. Mike Douglas is out. 2nd and 21 for Green Bay at their own 11-yard line. Handoff to Jesse Clark. And he's hit first by the veteran Steve Nelson. Andre Tippett also in on the tackles.
Tippett's all over the field in the rush. Take a look at it from the left side here. Offensive line of the Packers not able to deal. You see the pulling out here. Tippett just plays off the block. He's in the action along with Steve Nelson and company. Linebackers are just too quick for that offensive line pulling out for the Packers.
The Patriots potentially have one of the better linebacking groups in the league, and they are certainly showing it in the first half of this ball game. 3rd and 24. The blitz is on. Safety for New England. Don Blackman. Blitzing linebacker gets the safety.
Take a look at the right side of your screen. You'll see number 55 get off the block of number 70, Keith Euchre, and make the sack. And that patched-up offensive line of the Green Bay Packers having their problems, as is Lynn Dickey.
And I can't help but wonder if the physical problems that Dickey has had throughout the course of his career and last week against the Jets, if it's not really taking a big effect on him now.
Forrest said that Lynn Dickey was okay, that there was no structural damage. But that doesn't mean that he isn't sore. He isn't feeling the effects of that hit that the Jets put on him last week.
That's New England's 3rd sack of the afternoon. All 3 by their linebackers, 2 by Andre Tippett. So now Joe Prokop is in to punt from the 20-yard line of Green Bay. And Irving Fryer is back to receive for the Patriots. Fryer at the 18. And he fumbles the ball. Mad scramble on the field. And Forrest is just looking for any kind of break right now.
I was just going to say that. Take a look at it again. Fryer with that great speed breaks through the pack right there. Looks like he might have some running room, and then just loses the ball as he's carrying like a loaf of bread. It goes up in the air and is finally recovered by Gary Hayes, number 27, for the Packers.
One of the few good things that have happened to the Packers this afternoon, they have the ball at the Patriot 42-yard line.
They needed that break to change the doldrums that they're in. They need momentum to get back on their side.
And they also need to get on the scoreboard. 10-10 left to go in the first half. Good protection across the middle. Intercepted. The ball is picked up by Larry McGrew, but there is a flag on the play. The preliminary call is holding against the Packers.
Holding, number 68, offense, penalties declined, first down.
A totally frustrated Lynn Dickey, who's picked off by Donnie Blackman. 1st and 10 for New England. Tony Eason still at quarterback. Handoff up the middle. Craig James is the ball carrier. Tackle made by John Anderson. Eason, one of the young Green Bay Packer linebackers who've really been together for a long time now, but the disadvantage as far as they're concerned is that they're so small. Offensive linemen really trying to take advantage of that. Is Eason back to pass. Looks all over the field, finally hits Len Dawson. Good job of scanning the entire field in by Tony Eason, looking right to left, finally hitting Dawson across the middle.
Also, Jim, the absence of Mad Dog Douglas, number 53, who would have been on the right side. Watch number 51. Guy Prather comes in. He's blocked easily right there by Weathers, and that gives Eason plenty of time. See the left side of your screen? Prather, number 51, never got near the quarterback. Had Douglas been playing, he's a little niftier. He's a better sacker. He might have put pressure on Eason.
First down for New England at their 46-yard line. Play action pass. Complete to Cedric Jones. Doesn't make any difference as far as him losing his shoe. He'll take that anytime he can. It was completed into Clarence Withers at number 82. Clarence Withers. Now, the Patriots, as you look at them from an offensive standpoint, they have a lot of weapons, John. They can put a lot of different people in the ball game, and they can do just about anything they want with the type of people they have.
And if you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, here, take a look at what happens to Eason when he throws that ball. Robert Brown.
2nd and 1. Ball at the Green Bay 45-yard line. That's Robert Withers up the middle, and it looks like he has enough yardage for the first down. So the Patriots leading the Packers here 10-0, and it is Tampa Bay over Chicago. Kind of a surprise there, 21-7. St. Louis leading Cleveland in the second quarter. It is Atlanta over Detroit by 7 in the second quarter. Pittsburgh leading Indianapolis 14-3. Kansas City over New Orleans by 10. Seattle leading Cincinnati in the second quarter. First and 10 for New England. Here comes the pressure. And you can see the Packers now hollering and screaming for intentional grounding. But I think what's going to happen is referee Bob McElroy is going to rule that Eason was in the grasp of Mike Butler, and that's where he will be down.
And that rule, to clarify it one more time, is grasp and control. Take a look at it again, folks. Trying to protect the quarterback. See him right there? He's in the grasp. He's in the control of number 77, Butler. The whistle blew, and that was it. Probably better for Eason because they might have called that intentional grounding.
It's a loss of 14 yards. So it will be 2nd and 24. 6 minutes and 55 seconds left to go in the first half.
Shotgun, something new for the Patriots. They did not use it last year.
Oh, screen pass, and there is Guy Prather there again, tackling Craig James.
And someone has to pick up the momentum, the tempo for the Green Bay Packers. Mike Douglas was the man who told us we're not going to be firing blanks today. He's gone, so a guy like Guy Prather makes a good play right there, comes up with another loss. But someone has to pick up this team. The defense has been flat. They've had the aggressiveness of a prune.
And you see where they're trying to get a little excited on the field, trying to instigate some things, trying to create friction out on the field, trying to create really the snowball effect. 3rd and 32. Again from the shotgun. Across the middle. Complete to Tony Collins. But there is a flag on the play. The flag is in the backfield of the Patriots. Collins is tackled by Mark Murphy. But the preliminary call is holding against New England. And you can see Forrest saying, yes, we'll take anything right now that's in our favor.
It was 3rd and 32, so move him back some more. Force him to punt. We'll take a shot at him throwing the ball up and us intercepting it.
Number 76, offense, still 3rd down.
That down was against Brian Holloway. You know, with the way things are going for the Packers so far this afternoon, they really should take anything that's a positive effect on them. You know, just try and push the Patriots back as far as they can and take their chances, because they haven't had much luck doing anything else.
Exactly, and the pass is complete, so they gained about 25 yards on that call by Forrest Gregg.
Inside handoff to Craig James. The fans don't like it.
Wise.
Camarillo will have to come in and punt now.
Fans may not like it, but I think it's a wise situation. It's third and 1,000 yards. Rather than fumble or throw it up and have it intercepted and something happens to you, kick it away. Let your defense play. They've been doing a good job all afternoon.
So Camarillo comes in to punt for New England. And Walt Stanley will be back to receive for Green Bay at his 20-yard line. 4:52 left to go in the first half. And the Packers looking for some kind of spark to get them going from an offensive standpoint. Oh, good punt. Stanley at the 14. He gets up to the 28-yard. Try and get the Packers from an offensive standpoint on the roll here. Jesse Clark and Gary Ellis in the backfield for Green Bay. Play action pass. And it is complete to Philip Epps. Tackle there made by Ronnie Lippett.
You know, it's a pleasure to watch the Packer offense when it's working, because they are one of the last teams in the NFL, outside of maybe the Raiders and the Miami Dolphins, who really have that upfield passing game. Dickey has the arm, Epps and Lofton have the speed to get downfield and make things happen.
That play then, John, good for 13 yards and a Green Bay first down. Harlan Huckabee checks into the backfield. Dickey to James Lofton.
And guess who he's working on, Jim? The man we expected, Ronnie Lippett, number 42, covering Lofton and Epps. And, of course, Claiborne's on the other side. So if you're playing with an all-pro corner, they're naturally going to pick on you, as they do right here with Lofton running down on Ronnie Lippett. Take a look at it from the end zone. A little play-action fake. Good block right there. Nelson doesn't get any penetration, and then the ball is delivered. All right, Lofton with a good reception, good for 22 yards.
Kind of surprising. Lofton just starting to get into the action here this afternoon. But it is a first down for Green Bay. The tossback comes to Ellis. Ellis hit at about the 35-yard line, gets down to about the 34 before he's tackled by Larry McGrew.
I don't believe what I just saw. Paul Kaufman, number 82, just took Andre Tippett. Andre Tippett just took Paul Kaufman, number 82, and flung him aside like he wasn't even standing there. Of course, Kaufman, not the best blocking tight end, but take a look at this, Jim. This is incredible. Watch Tippett, number 56. Watch how strong he is. He just grabs him and throws him aside to the ground.
You know, he has started a karate school here in the New England area. That probably has a lot to do with it.
Use of leverage. He used it that time right there.
2nd and 7 for Green Bay. It is complete to Kaufman, but there's a flag on the play as Roland James tackles Kaufman as he goes out of bounds at about the 7-yard line.
And you and I both know what it is. It's Paul Kaufman, number 82, pushing off number 38, Roland James, offensive pass interference.
Illegal contact, number 38, defense.
The other way around, and you hear the fans. I want to see that again, because Roland James had position the way I saw it. Kaufman ran into him. The referee saw it the other way. He saw James cutting off Kaufman and preventing him from going where he wanted to go.
That was a pickup of 27 yards. So, you know, once again, we're talking about a judgment call as far as the officials are concerned, and I'm wondering if they aren't thinking, well, Kaufman had a right to get to the ball.
That's exactly how they ruled it, and it is a judgment call. I thought Kaufman pushed off.
1st and goal for Green Bay. Ball at the 7-yard line of New England. Across the middle, Dickey throws, and it is incomplete, intended for Kaufman, but another flag on the play.
Steve Nelson, number 57, was all over Kaufman. We'll see if that's the call right here. See if 2 in a row go the Packers' direction.
Pass interference. Number 31, defense, first down.
They called it on Fred Marion, number 31.
Who now leaves the ball game. So we'll
Take a look at it again. Yeah, see him across the field. See Nelson there on Kaufman. Gets his hand on him and grabs his jersey. That could have easily been the penalty. Instead, they called it on Fred Marion, which was a mistake, I think. They meant to call it on 57.
Kind of confusing to get, kind of strange to get 31 and 57 confused, right? First and goal, ball at the 1-yard line. There's Ellis. And he's ruled in for the score. So with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the first half, behind a couple of penalties by New England, the Packers finally get on the scoreboard.
And that was just a question of Gary Ellis just giving that second effort. It looked like a rugby scrum where they were stopped for a moment and then it just became a pushing war. Take a look at it for yourself right here. See Tippett, see how strong he is right there? Very hard to tell. The referee calls it touchdown.
Del Greco in now to attempt the extra point conversion. And it's blocked again. This time, Donnie Blackman. The Packers had a field goal blocked by Julius Adams. Now they come back and have an extra point attempt blocked by Don Blackman. Those kinds of plays could turn out to be the difference in the ball game towards the end of the contest.
But, you know, take a look at it again. Blackman up the middle gets a lot of penetration this side. You see Dickey is the holder, though. It used to be Bucky Scribner. Scribner was cut, and that will make a difference in the kicking game, having a new holder. That split second, another block.
Stephen Starring is back to receive for the Patriots, and he gets it at about the 1-yard line. Runs into one of his own men, gets up to about the 22-yard line before it's tackled by Charles Martin. Here are the Chicago Bears coming back. They trail Tampa Bay by 7, 21-14. Miami still over Houston, 13-6. Detroit and Atlanta are all tied in the second quarter. Pittsburgh over Indianapolis by 14 in the second quarter. Kansas City leading New Orleans 20-3. And here it is the New England Patriots leading the Green Bay Packers. First and 10 for New England. Handoff goes to Tony Collins. Collins across the 25-yard line. First met there by John Anderson. Who else to learn from? Second and 5 for the Patriots. Ball is at their 27-yard line. Here's a handoff to Tony Collins. Collins is doing some smart running, I think, out there. He's getting up behind the line of scrimmage and actually picking his own holes. I think the offensive system is to let him run wherever he wants.
Of course, Collins was a top draft choice in 81. He was drafted number 2. He's Pro Bowl in 84. You didn't hear much in 83, that is. You didn't hear much about him because of that one-back offense Ron Meyer had last season, and Tony Collins was in the doghouse. But now he's out, and he's excited.
And he picks up enough yardage for the first down. A minute 26 to go in the first half. Eason complete to Collins. Tackle made by Randy Scott. And the Patriots have called for a timeout.
And you get a sense that Eason is in total control. Smart passes, runs Collins once, picks up some yards, sends him out of the backfield, finds him in a very safe, high percentage pass for the first down. Casually calls a timeout. Patriots want to put something else on the board. They lead 12-6. A Packer touchdown puts the Packers ahead. So certainly New England cannot coast. They should try to get something going into the locker room to give them a little bit of a cushion.
I know Eason has that real easygoing kind of attitude as he's completed 10 of 13 for 97 yards. He was saying yesterday that he wants to perform on the field the same way he does in practice.
Interesting, and he said he wants to be a cerebral quarterback. Emotion, he said, narrows his vision, his ability to be cool out there. So he wants to be on that same emotional level all the time. You see the balanced offense that the Patriots have. They've run the ball 16 times. They've thrown it 17. That is a coach's dream. Balance. Remember what Barry told us about his dad down in Texas? The one thing he learned very early in life was that balance was the key to being successful at anything in life.
And he also said that his dad was the best coach that he ever played for.
Texas high school football, yes.
That's it. So the Patriots have the balance. They have the lead right now. And they're from the shotgun formation. Eason flushed out, and he runs out of bounds. Pushed out there by number 90, Ezra Johnson, and into the Green Bay bench. So give credit then to the Packer secondary for doing a great job of covering downfield.
They had great coverage, but Eason does not like to throw interceptions, so he won't be sure that he can. Ezra Johnson here leaping. See, he gets his hands on him before he gets out of bounds. I don't think it was a penalty. And Eason just slides right into the bench, but obviously didn't hurt himself. Ezra just giving that little extra effort. Got him before he left the field. A legal shot.
And Ezra's really trying to do anything he can because he's fighting a back injury that's bothered him for the last 3 years. 2nd and 13. Low snap from center, the shotgun, and the flags on the play, and it will be stopped. Play will be stopped. But once again, let's, about the shotgun formation. This is the first time this year that Eason has worked from this formation.
Ball start. Number 76, offense.
Brian Holloway, number 76, was a little worried about Ezra Johnson on his side of the field. That's why he got off a little too early there. Of course, Brian Holloway, their all-pro offensive tackle, 5th year out of Stanford. And he and John Hanna on that side of the line were just the awesome left side of the Patriots line. Hanna out, of course, with a calf. Expected back possibly next week.
And they can certainly use him when he gets back. But now it's 2nd and 18. The Patriots again from the shotgun. In and out of the arms of James. So Eason had James wide open, but the ball hit him right in the stomach, but he couldn't hold on. And that will make it a 3rd down for New England. 3rd and 18. Eason is kind of, maybe because of some drop passes, obviously, was kind of cooled off just a little bit.
Well, there's been a shift in the tempo of the game. The Packers have picked it up a little bit. The Patriots have dropped off.
Eason down the middle. The ball in the pass is complete. This is the 2nd time that Clarence Weathers has come up with a big pass reception. And once again, it just goes to show you the number of good wide receivers that they do have.
They certainly do, and that ball was perfectly thrown on.
The 3 wide receivers. Oh, there he is again. That's Derwin Williams. 29 yards and a 1st down.
Eason will want to just stop the clock quickly. Probably just stand up and throw it out of bounds. Oh!
And the Packers are just standing in awe. I think that they thought also, John, that Eason was going to try and just throw it out of bounds. But when you have wide receivers like the Patriots have, touchdown Cedric Jones.
Not only that, I have to blame that on Tim Lewis, number 26, seemed really casual. I think Eason said, well, I'll throw it up and away. If he catches it, fine, touchdown. Otherwise, I'll throw it away and stop the clock. Defensive back was dozing off.
Tony Franklin in to attempt the extra point conversion. No doubt about it. But while the defense was caught napping, you will have to admit, a great throw by Eason. Just great.
And what a catch by Jones. Take a look at it again. Eason just stands up here, throws it kind of casually outside. See the defensive back there, half turnaround, stops. That's Tim Lewis. And Jones makes the great catch. Take a look at it again from the end zone. Okay, things are happening fast. The defense did not get set. See him just lob it way outside. No chance for an interception. Good catch.
Eason is now 13 of 17 for 159 yards and 1 touchdown. And I think the long pass to Derwin Williams really got Green Bay all confused. They were standing around. They kind of thought that Eason was going to try and throw the ball out of bounds and set up another play, but instead, touchdown to Derwin Williams, 19-6. The Patriots over the Packers with 8 seconds left to go in the first half.
And what an impressive drive by Tony Eason. The good quarterbacks can take that 2-minute drill, that hurry-up offense, and do it. Tony Eason just showed an awful lot of maturity there. He moved his team down the field in about 1 minute and 20 seconds for the score.
Here's Tony Franklin kicking off. Split kick. You can hear him hollering, let it go. But the ball is fumbled around by the Packers, and it is downed at the 18-yard line, down there by Gary Ellerson. So 4 seconds left to go in the first half. And it has been a most forgettable first half for the Packers and a very pleasant one as far as the Patriots are concerned.
Here's a play that set it up. Watch this ball. The defensive back right there, Ronnie Burgess, 39, falls, or he might have had a shot at the ball because it was thrown a little bit behind. It's those kinds of breaks that can kill a team and put more gray hairs on the head of Forrest Gregg.
The season opener for both clubs, and our second half is underway. It is starting at the goal line. He gets back to about the 20-yard line, and that's where the Patriots will take over. 1st and 10. Tackle that was made by John Anderson.
Tempo all important on his first drive in the second half. Will the Packers, after coming out of the locker room, I imagine Forrest Gregg had a few things to say to them in the locker room, allowing that last second touchdown to put them down 19-6. I'd say he had a few angry words saying, gentlemen, you better get out there and do it. There may be some new faces around here.
A few heated words, and that locker room is really steamy right now. Let's see if it's a carryover onto the defensive unit. Inside handoff is Greg James. First contact is made by Randy Scott.
And you played for Forrest Gregg in Cleveland. You know what kind of inspirational talk he can give.
Forrest is the kind of guy who will intimidate you. I mean, he's just that kind of person, and you really start to believe in him, and he likes that fear factor, I believe, and I think it's a direct carryover from his days when he played for Vince Lombardi.
Certainly Vince would get your attention.
Let's see if Forrest got his players' attention at halftime. 2nd and 13. Eason down the middle. Pass was intended for Lynn Dawson. Tom Flynn was over recovering, so apparently Tom Flynn is okay. You remember he left the ball game early in the first half with some kind of shoulder injury, but now he's back.
And Flynn's one of the guys that have picked up the Packer defense. You remember a couple of years ago they were the laughing stock of the NFL, the worst team in defense in the league. Last year they were the 16th team, so they were moving up, and Gregg expected some improvement, and Flynn is one of the guys that will do it.
Flynn was the defensive rookie of the year last season. The Packers now have 5 defensive backs in. New England from the shotgun. Pass across the middle. Once again, it is complete. Derwin Williams. Good pass protection by the Patriots. And Mark Murphy's in on the tackle.
I was just about to... Tony Eason not only has a strong arm, he has good touch. The shotgun gives him a little extra time to see downfield. He has time, good pickup by the offensive line. The ball is perfectly thrown. The receiver goes up and protects it from the defensive backs with his body. Completion.
Williams now 4 receptions for 85 yards. First and 10, ball at the 35. Hand off to Tony Collins. He doesn't quite get back to the 35-yard line. Tackle made by Guy Prather.
Take a look at it again. Prather comes in. He's on the blitz, so he has a little leeway. Takes on the blocker and still makes the tackle. Outstanding play. In a 3-4, that outside linebacker is often coming on the blitz. That time, Prather made penetration to make the play.
Here's a handoff to Collins. Getting to the outside. Finally tackled there by Mark Murphy. The Packers still in the second half, a little sluggish as far as their defensive effort is concerned. And there is an injured Packer on the field. There's Murphy coming back with his head down, but there is an injured Packer on the field. That's George Cumby.
Yes, George Cumby, inside linebacker. Down, and of course we lost Mike Douglas earlier, and you see the man standing over him, number 91. He's a 5th-round draft choice, a rookie out of Arizona State, and they're really high on Brian Noble. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's been fighting Cumby.
The Packers have 5 defensive backs in. Lonnie Burgess checks in for Green Bay. New England from the shotgun. Across the middle again. Eason connects with Craig James. Tackle made by John Anderson. Also Mark Murphy in on the tackle. That pass play good for 15 yards. And it is amazing how Eason has continually this afternoon completed that pass across the middle.
If you take a look at number 37, you might see him fall on this play. He might have helped Murphy. See on the left side of your screen, Murphy's covering. Now right here, you see him come late into your screen, Mark Murphy. Had he been able to hold his footing, he might have been able to help out Anderson trying to cover James out of the backfield.
Enough yardage for the first down. The toss back to Tony Collins. Collins tackled by Guy Prather and Tim Lewis. And there's another injured Packer on the field. Looks like Charles Martin is slow getting up. Charlie Martin, the second-year man from Livingston, who was replacing Terry Jones, who ruptured his Achilles tendon in the first day of training camp. So right from day one, it's been a tough period of time for the Packers.
And Forrest Gregg was talking about Charlie Martin. He said he's the best player I've coached in my career almost. I can't get him off the field. He wants to play every down, be a starter, play every special team. I'd like to have 45 players just like this man Martin, and would be a good football team.
And he brought a smile to Forrest Gregg's face when we started talking about Martin. But the Packers haven't been smiling this afternoon. They trail 19-6. Here's Tony Eason. The blitz is on, but he gets a pass off anyway, and it is complete. Pass is complete to Collins again. John Anderson making the tackle.
And again, the mismatch. Okay, Anderson trying to cover Collins. All Collins did was come out of the backfield, leaned inside, faked inside on Anderson, and then went to the outside. Eason waited. He had the time, completed the pass.
Eason is now 16 of 21 for 193 yards.
Not a bad afternoon.
Not at all. Particularly where he is using his running backs so effectively. First and 10. Ball at the 30-yard line of Green Bay. Tatupu and Robert Weathers in the backfield for the Patriots. And Tatupu gets the call. Tatupu gets inside the 30-yard line before he's tackled by George Cumby and Prather again. So Cumby gets back into the ball game. You mentioned the pressure that was on George Cumby to keep his job. He came out of the ball game with an injury, and now he's right back in it.
As a matter of fact, some people thought that Brian Noble, the rookie out of Arizona State, might start today because he's one of Forrest's big people. Forrest believes in bulk. The gospel, according to Forrest, is bulk is beautiful. And Noble is about 20 pounds heavier than Cumby at linebacker.
Well, that's the trend around the National Football League the last 4 or 5 years. Big linebackers. But the Patriots trying to come up with another big play, and a linebacker makes a great interception, Randy Scott. Randy Scott making the interception for Green Bay. Knocked out of bounds by Brian Holloway.
And Easton is a man who does not throw many interceptions. He's a high percentage passer. He only threw 8 in all of 1984. Take a look at him right here. He does not see Scott. See from the right side. See Scott there. He's got his tight end hooking. Scott comes. He waits. He's a little bit late. Scott jumps in front of Ramsey for the interception. Big play. Green Bay needed that.
Well, Lynn Dickey now takes his Packers on the field. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Hand off to Jesse Clark. Oh, he hit by Don Blackman. We are seeing some very good linebacker play by both clubs in this ballgame.
Well, that's the strength of both clubs. Neither club has an outstanding defensive line or pass rush. They rely on their linebackers to solidify that defense, both average in the secondary. So if the linebackers don't do it for both clubs, then they're in trouble defensively.
Wonder when we're going to see some more of James Lofton.
Yes, James has been very quiet today.
Philip Epps.
Philip Epps. What about Kaufman?
Here's Dickey. He goes for Philip Epps, and the ball is a little low, incomplete coverage there by Steve Nelson, and there is a flag on the play.
I was just about to say, Dickey is not setting up. He's not setting his feet. He's edgy. He's throwing off balance. He's throwing too quickly. He's just not in the rhythm of his game.
I remembered when we saw him yesterday and talked to him. As soon as he walked in the room, I got the impression that,
Number 70, offense, still 2nd down.
It's Keith Euchre, who the penalty was called against. I got the impression that Lynn really wasn't feeling that well.
He wasn't feeling that well. He looked like he was in pain. Of course, he was hurt last week. He got a lot of pressure from the Jets early. Here he gets pressure again. But you see him, he's a little bit gun-shy. He turns that shoulder, gets a little bit too soon. I mean, I've seen Dickey where he's held that ball for the last moment, maybe for 1 second longer than he did there, and he'll take the hit.
So it is 2nd and 19 for Green Bay. The ball at their 36. Here's a handoff to Ellis. And he's smothered at the line of scrimmage. Kenneth Sims and Andre Tippett, the first 2 Patriots to get to him.
And remember what Dickey said yesterday. I mean, all this pressure is coming from the Patriots defense because they know the Packers do not have a running game. Remember what Lynn said to us yesterday? He said, goodness, if I only get 85 or 95 yards from one of my running backs, it would take the heat off our passing game. He's not getting it this afternoon.
And as a result, their passing game has been ineffective. Preston Denard checks in for Green Bay. That gives them 3 wide receivers. Watch out. Dickey's hit again. That's Andre Tippett, who comes in and really blasts Lynn Dickey.
Is Dickey all right is my question. Oh, he took a hit from the backside. It looked like there were offsides and Dickey was slowing down. I don't know where the whistle was, but Dickey, I think, thought there was a penalty that would have stopped the play. Obviously, Tippett didn't believe it. Take a look at it again, folks. Watch the left side of your screen. Number 56. Coming from wide from the outside, throws a little fake. He gets right around Ellis. Dickey never saw him. Takes the hit right up beside the head. Oof, down he goes. Andre Tippett, his 3rd sack of the day. And Dickey's neck and his back and his vertebrae.
I think the man's hurt. I really believe he is hurt. And he's too proud an individual to say so. Joe Prokop in to punt for Green Bay. The ball lands at the 39 and takes a Packer bounce. Goes out of bounds the yard line, leading the Packers 19-6. Handoff to James. James gets across the 25 up to about the 28-yard line before he's tackled by Guy Prather again.
And it's interesting, Craig James, of course, he was a halfback. When Raymond Berry told him, look, you're going to be a fullback, well, he didn't particularly like it. He said, I got to get the ball. I'm used to getting it. And then Berry explained the offense to him. He said, it's much like San Francisco, where you won't be doing any heavy-duty inside running and blocking, but rather you'll be like another halfback.
Berry now is trying to quiet the crowd down from the wave. That can be very distracting, and it can really hurt your own ball club. Hand off to Collins. Across the 30. Up to about the 31, 32-yard line as George Cumby in on the tackle. That's one of the things that, this wave that's been around for the last couple of years. Home teams really are starting to try and keep the crowds from doing that because they have a tendency to do that when the home team has the ball.
Wave when the other team has the ball. Tony Collins, 10 for 50, 1 touchdown.
Short yardage now for the Patriots. That means mostly Tutupu in the lineup. And up goes to number 24, Robert Withers. Withers going behind the blocking of Tutupu.
And that's just what I said, that Craig James didn't have to take on the heavy load of your traditional big fullback, but rather they have Tutupu to lead a guy like Weathers for the first down.
And there are a lot of people who wonder why Tutupu isn't in the starting lineup more so that you can have Craig James and Tony Collins running behind Tutupu.
Well, I think Raymond Berry's using him the way he should. Tutupu and the line are strong. Tutupu leads the way. See him right there with the hit. That allows Weathers, number 30, with the hit to get the first down.
Once again, bursting up through the middle of the line of scrimmage. That's Craig James.
I think a smart coach finds the attributes of each of his players and gets them involved in the game somehow. And that's what Raymond Berry is doing. He has 4 backs playing. He has Collins and James starting, doing what they do well, run the ball and catch it out of the backfield. He has Tutupu and Weathers coming behind them to batter away at a tiring Green Bay defense.
5 minutes and 25 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Here's Eason back to pass. The blitz is on, but it's picked up. There's a flag on the play as the pass was intended for Cedric Jones. No, the Patriots, the last few days, all we've been hearing about is the ineffectiveness of their offensive line.
Defensive pass interference, number 43, first down.
Darrell Jones is the person for Green Bay that the penalty was called against, but we're seeing this afternoon how the Patriots line has done a great job.
And this is Mark Lee covering here, and they said the penalty was not on him, although Lee had pretty good coverage. He was actually there too soon, Jim, and that can happen to a defensive back. Your coverage is too good, you're there too soon, and you bump the receiver.
So we saw Mark Lee when the official called Darrell Jones. But whatever the situation, it was the first down now for New England. Play action pass. Eason's had plenty of time. Now he throws back across the field. Pass is complete to Cedric Jones. And there is Darrell Jones making the tackle.
And you are watching the growth of a quarterback, the maturing of Tony Eason. He wanted Irvin Fryer deep down on the post. They had double coverage. They had him covered in the middle. He pulls it down, finds a secondary receiver, and picks up a few yards.
I guess one of the ways you can tell about his maturity is you can watch him look from one side of the field to the other.
Exactly, and that's what he's doing, and that's what the good quarterbacks do after they are in the league for a few years.
4.5 minutes left to go in the third period. Another flag on the play. Eason completing the pass, this time to Derek Ramsey. The preliminary call is against New England.
Illegal motion, number 61, offense, 2 men moving.
Number 61 is Ron Wooten from North Carolina. Wooten, incidentally, was quoted in the papers as saying, forget about what we did in the preseason. Our running game will come around during the regular season, and it will start in the Packer game.
And he's right. Both teams, of course, 1-3 in the preseason, trying to throw out that record and get a victory here in the first game of the year. Penalties, Green Bay 2 for 23. New England having their problems, 7 for 46 yards.
Here's Eason back to pass. Great protection. Almost intercepted that time by Mark Lee. pass was intended for Irving Fryer, but it was a little low. And Mark Lee, with good anticipation, should have come up with the interception.
No doubt about it. He gambled a little bit, Mark Lee did, because he had help deep behind him. He was covering Irving Fryer. He jumped underneath because he knew he had help deep. But there was no pressure on the quarterback. Eason had plenty of time to look for receivers.
The Packers in their nickelback situation. And New England has 3 wide receivers in. On 3rd and 13. Eason scrambling around, and he has some running room. Caught from behind by Ezra Johnson. So that particular time, I was kind of thinking about, about the new rule, how when a quarterback starts running around and he slides in first, you're automatically down. I don't think he really thought that Ezra Johnson was that close behind him.
He never saw Ezra Johnson. Good pursuit by the big man.
But it is not enough yardage for the first down. So Rich Camarillo comes in to punt for New England. Walt Stanley is back to receive for Green Bay at the Packer 10-yard line. Camarillo for the far sideline. And it will be ruled a touchback. And the Packers,
he's just back, so a little bit rusty. Said he is not exactly 100% happy to be back, but it was a question of mutual need.
And the Packers certainly need some better efforts out of not only Cook, but the rest of their squad this afternoon. Here's a draw play to Ellis. Ellis to about the 26-yard line, and he's tackled there by Larry McGrew.
Cook came back. He said he really, he left camp because he was unhappy. He said he didn't like the way he was being treated. He wasn't being treated like a man. And it had something to do with his relationship with Jerry Wampler. But boy, he knew if he didn't come back, he might be put on a list where he couldn't play all year. He knew the Packers needed him. So together they said, look, you need me, I need you, so I'll come back and we'll see what happens.
He also heard about the pending trade to Cleveland,
exactly.
Too. It's Jesse Clark. Clark to about the 27-yard line. Steve Nelson on the tackle.
What I thought was terrific, though, in talking to Greg Cook, and so honest and an intelligent man. I saw him, his eyes kind of fill up a little bit when he talked about coming back and talking to Forrest Gregg, who was a tough guy to talk to after you've walked out and had some tough words with. He said at the end of our conversation when I come back, Forrest Gregg walked around the table and hugged me and said, welcome back, you big brute. I'm glad to have you. Man to man.
That's a very special relationship. But so far this afternoon, no hugs from the Packer players. Here's Dickey back to pass. Almost intercepted. The pass was intended for Jesse Clark, and that was Roland James.
Well, Jesse Clark made a good play to prevent Roland James from intercepting that ball. The problem was Kaufman was too close, and Roland James, see, the ball was thrown behind too. Had he thrown it over the outside, but you see Kaufman inside, 2 receivers too close to one another in the same area.
Only 21 yards of rushing so far for the Packers, 107 for New England.
Do you think they need Eddie Lee Ivory back?
In the worst way. That's Irving Fryer back to receive on the punt from Joe Prokop of Green Bay. Back to about the 13-yard line. Irving Fryer gets up to the 25-yard line where he's tackled there by Gary Hayes. That punt good for 58 yards. Tony Eason having a good first game of the regular season. A handoff to Tony Collins, jitterbugging at the line of scrimmage, getting up, and he's just short of the 30-yard line. George Cumby making the tackle.
Tony Collins is one of those runners with speed and quickness, hard. He's elusive. He's like, Walter Payton or Freeman McNeil or Marcus Allen, hard to get that clean shot at. And there he just sidestepped. You saw him slide through the hole and pick up a few yards when he probably should have gotten 0.
Those are the natural instincts that you really cannot teach a running back.
You're born with them. Born to run.
Pick up of 4 yards. It's 2nd and 6. Good protection for Eason. Throws. Complete to Collins. Once again, that natural instinct that we talked about. Born to run.
And balance. An ability to catch the ball. I mean, Tony talking to him in the locker room, his eyes just lit up when I said, Tony, what kind of a year are you going to have? He said, you know what? I am so happy to be in the two-back offense and part of this team again. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to get my hands on the ball, either running it or catching it out of the backfield. And Tony's doing it this afternoon.
And the extra effort gives the Patriots a first down. 17 seconds left to go in the third period. The pitch back. Robert Weathers. Weathers bumped out of bounds at the 42-yard line by George Cumby. 6 seconds left to go in the third period. No, the Patriots are using a lot of people both on offense and defense, particularly at the skill positions.
I think that brings the team closer together if everyone can contribute something. And besides, in a very practical way, on a hot afternoon like it is today here, temperature close to 100 degrees on the turf, you get fresh people in there, and that's what Raymond Berry wants to do.
2nd and 9, and this should be the last play of the third quarter. Is on. And Eason is sacked. Charles Martin putting on the pressure, and Guy Prather also in there.
And I was amazed last year. The biggest problem New England had was stopping the blitz. He was sacked 30 times in the last 4 games. Take a look at it from ground level here. It's just delayed blitz. No.
The Patriots. And Tony Eason back to pass. Good protection across the middle, and it is complete. This time complete to Derek Ramsey. Ramsey gets up to the 45-yard line before he's down by John Anderson. And now it's just a point of New England taking whatever Green Bay gives them. So with that, it will be 4th down. Rich Camarillo in to punt for New England. Walter Stanley will be back to receive for the Packers at about his 10-yard line. Time of possession so far this afternoon, John. The Packers only 15 minutes and 45 seconds. New England 29 minutes and 15 seconds.
That can be deceiving because the Packers have big strike power and they can get it done in a hurry. But they haven't this afternoon.
Here's Stanley at the 11-yard line. And he gets back to the 20-yard line where he's tackled by Rod McSwain. Now, coming up next, U.S. Open Tennis Championships in the men's singles final. 2nd seed Ivan Lendl against top seed John McEnroe.
And what a match that should be. Of course, McEnroe, when I watch him, I sense he's a man with a mission. Like he was angry after losing Wimbledon in the French Open, and that he has something to prove here in the U.S. Open. What a match it should be. Lendl-McEnroe.
Meanwhile, Ed Reynolds is the injured New England Patriot on the field. Whistles are blowing before the play can get off, as Andre Tippett was in on the blitz for the Patriots.
And of course, you remember not too long ago, Andre Tippett came from the Blacks' blind side and laid out Lynn Dickey. That time the whistle blew.
Would you believe Green Bay, with its high-powered offense, only has 8 first downs in the entire game?
Please reset the clock to 13:56.
Yeah, he wears number 80. He can fly. Got to get the ball to him.
1st and 10. Dickey back to pass. Throwing intended for Paul Kaufman, and it is behind him with Steve Nelson on the coverage.
He chose Kaufman for a reason, Jim. Kaufman is a shorter throw. He can get the quicker hook patterns to Kaufman. If he looks downfield to throw to Lofton and Epps, he might have problems because his offensive line is not protecting him, not giving him the time. Look at that. Terrible day for James Lofton. 1 reception, 22 yards for a man over the last 2 years, and he's had over 1,300 yards in each of the last 2 seasons.
And Dickey's only completed 7.
Whoa.
7 of 12 for 106 yards. So it's 2nd and 10. Play action pass. Pressure's on. He gets away from Ken Sims. And there is a flag on the play. Pass was intended for Kaufman again. This time it'll be holding against New England.
Holding, number 56, defense, automatic first down.
Andre Tippett was the man they called. Of course, what an afternoon he's having. He already has 3 sacks.
But you know, Tippett told us yesterday, the worst thing that he does as a defender is defend against the pass. He says he can defend against the run very well. We all know he can blitz extremely well. But covering people coming out of the backfield is his weakness.
Well, take a look at the right-hand side of his screen and see if we can pick it up there. See him? Yep. He grabbed on for a moment onto Kaufman's jersey, and then he's pushing the running back out of the backfield.
Back to pass. Going deep this time for James Lofton, and he's double covered. The pass is incomplete. So we talked about going to Lofton. They go to Lofton, negative results.
Well, they know you have to throw the ball because your running game is going nowhere, so it puts Dickey in a big pickle. And if I were playing against him, I'd double cover him also, and that's exactly what they do. Fred Marion comes in as the second man, knocks the ball away, number 31. Of course, Ronnie Lippett might need help on a receiver like James Lofton.
Well, any cornerback will tell you he'll take all the help he can get. 2nd and 10. Dickey again. In and out of the hands of Lofton. Ronnie Lippett on the coverage, and that time the all-pro receiver had some room.
How many times you've seen Lofton catch that ball and then just put it into overdrive and sprint to the end zone?
And you hear the oohs and ahs from the crowd. They know that could have been a big play for Green Bay.
Take a look at it again. He reaches out. The ball is definitely catchable. Just drops it as he's trying to turn upfield to take off.
So it's 3rd and 10. The Patriots with their nickel defense and 5 defensive backs. Dickey's hit as he releases the ball, and it is incomplete, intended for Harlan Huckabee. A long afternoon for Lynn Dickey, who's been injured so many times in his career, but the defensive unit of the New England Patriots gets a standing ovation.
Pressure. He throws this ball. He doesn't want to throw it yet, but he has to because there are white shirts everywhere. Pressure does things to people. It's doing something to Lynn Dickey today.
Once again, Joe Prokop is in to punt for Green Bay. He's had a real good afternoon.
A left footer. You don't see many of those around.
Irving Fryer back to receive for the Patriots. Another good punt by Prokop. This is Fryer at the 25-yard line. Puts his head down, gets over the 35 to about the 36-yard line, and he's tackled by Mark Cannon. Now the Patriots have the ball 1st and 10. This is Tony Collins. Darrell Jones in on the tackle for Green Bay.
And, you know, just mentioning Irving Fryer, with Stanley Morgan out and now Irving Fryer leaving, that certainly puts a crimp in the Patriot offense. Of course, Fryer was the first player taken in the draft in '84, much like Sims was, Kenneth Sims, a few years before. So the Patriots have franchise players. And there you go, Fryer leaving.
So amazing yesterday, he was telling me, hey, I'm going to get to see James Lofton, the guy that he admires. He never figured that this would happen. And they both wear number 80.
Yes.
2nd and 5. Look at Craig James run. Enough yardage for the 1st down. Tackle made by Ezra Johnson. Next Sunday on the NFL Today, a special feature, Stormin' Norman of the Philadelphia Eagles. Irv Cross takes a look at him.
Norman Brayman, the fiery new owner of the Eagles, and you know he's taking that hard financial line. He sent Wilbur Montgomery out to Detroit. He still has Robinson, Harrison, Williams not signed. So the man is taking a hard line. A lot of people are watching to see what he does around the league to see if it works.
And you'll get a preview of that next week on the NFL Today.
Irv Cross. Yes.
Irving Fryer has just left with injured ribs, Jim. Here's Houston back to pass, and it is complete. Derwin Williams, or rather Cedric Jones as a pass receiver there. George Cumbie in on the tackle.
You know, Jim, if I were the Packers now and I'm trailing 19-6 and I have 11.5 minutes left in the game, I'm going to come after the Patriots.
11:34 left to go in the ball game. New England leading Green Bay 19-6. It is 2nd and 3. Inside handoff. And there's a fumble. And it looks like the Packers get it back. Looks like John Anderson gets the ball back as Tony Collins fumbled the ball. So one of the few breaks that the Packers have gotten this afternoon, and they have the ball again. Lynn Dickey back on the field for Green Bay. It will be 1st and 10 from the Packer 44-yard line.
And this game is far from over with 11 minutes left.
Especially when the Packers have the potential of striking at any time. And Dickey is down. First pressure was put in by Don Blackman. And now for an NFL Today report, let's go to New York and Brent Musburger.
Jim, the major story developing today, the Minnesota Vikings have tied the Super Bowl champions. This pass set up their touchdown. Tommy Kramer to Leo Lewis. 49ers 7, the Vikings 7. Back now to Jeff.
Thank you very much, Brent. That is a big surprise, John.
Well, Bud Grant is back in Minnesota.
The Packers are trying to get back. Blackman in again. That's 6 sacks this afternoon for New England.
That's one of the problems of being an immobile quarterback, a veteran quarterback who's had a lot of injuries like Lynn Dickey. He just can't get away from the rush. He can't buy time. Sacked the last 2 times when a younger, more mobile quarterback might have been able to get away from this. Take a look at it right here. Blackman with a good move. See, Dickey, another quarterback might have been able to spin out and get away. Dickey just been around too long, 37 years old.
But Blackman was too much that time for Harlan Huckleby as he got around Huckleby, who was trying to block him. 3rd and 17. This is Jesse Clark. A little running room. Across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. Knocked out of bounds there by Fred Marion.
A good play. The defense expecting a pass, so they try to pick it up with the run. It doesn't work. But still, they got some yardage out of it.
However, not enough.
Not enough. 4th down. I'll tell you what, New England is saying to these guys, look, we're going to come up, we're going to challenge you. Look at how tight those defensive backs are on Jefferson, and, on Lofton and Epps. Of course, they do have help deep. That's why they can do that.
So Joe Prokop is back in to punt for Green Bay. He's had a great afternoon. Stephen Starring back to receive for the Patriots at the 10. A line drive kick. Hits at the 15. Hits Starring at about the 9-yard line, and the loose ball. But there is a flag on the play. The Patriots recover the fumble. The Patriots recover after the ball hits Stephen Starring, but there is a flag on the play. Preliminary call. The Packers had an illegal man downfield.
Shear.
Prokop again back to punt. Stephen Starring this time at about his own 15-yard line. Starring fumbles the ball again, but the Patriots again recover.
You wonder if they're going to miss Irvin Fryer? Well, that'll tell you about it. He's fumbled the ball twice on punts. Patriots dodged the bullet.
This continues to go your way. That's exactly what's happened with the Patriots this afternoon. 1st and 10 at their 14. is Tony Collins. Collins to about the 20-yard line before it's tackled by Randy Scott. Other scores this afternoon. The Giants really putting it to the Eagles. Tampa Bay trailing Chicago. San Francisco, we just got an update on Brent Musburger in New York on that score. San Francisco and Minnesota. Here is St. Louis leading Cleveland by 14 in the fourth period. Houston over Miami.
Wow.
Detroit over Atlanta. Pittsburgh big over Indianapolis. Kansas City big over New Orleans. Seattle over Cincinnati in the third period. This is Craig James, the ball carrier for the Patriots. He's tackled behind the line of scrimmage by John Anderson.
Jim, you just mentioned that Houston was ahead of Miami. Well, I just got a report that Dan Marino hurt his wrist, and that Strzok is in there now at quarterback, and he just threw a 67-yard pass to Duper. Miami trailing Houston. What an upset that would be. And what a lift for the New England Patriots, who always have to deal with the shadow of the Miami Dolphins in their division.
Yeah, I remember yesterday Derek Ramsey was telling us that one of the things the Patriots are going to have to do this year is pass more, because they have to keep up from an offensive standpoint with those Dolphins. And the Patriots are in the shotgun formation. Here comes the blitz from the Packers. The pass is complete. Duran Williams. So that time, Eason beat the blitz.
Someone must tell Ronnie Burgess that when the blitz is on and you're covering a man, you must take away the inside, because that's where the receiver wants to go, and that's where the quarterback wants to throw the ball. If you take away anything, it's got to be the inside. He did not. Williams makes the catch, comes up for the first down.
At the 30-yard line, John. So the passing attack of the New England Patriots has been very effective this afternoon. They've gone to a variety of receivers at different distances with a great deal of success. Here's a handoff to James again. No, a little bit of smart running as far as James was concerned, and got up into the line of scrimmage. He stopped, let people run around him, then picked up an extra couple of yards.
Not only smart running, but I have to question the Packer defense. That was a play that could have been stopped at the line of scrimmage or even for a yard loss, yet the man picks up a few yards. I mean, some of the Jets on the plane ride home from the game in Green Bay last week told me that the Packer defense just didn't play at all. They were just pathetic. They weren't hitting. They weren't coming off the ball. They had rarely seen a defense in the NFL play so poorly. Again this afternoon, they're missing tackles. They're not aggressive.
The loud cheer you just heard was the crowd here got the score of the Dolphin football game. Here's James again. Back to the inside, and he has some running room. You better look out. James will score. A 65-yard touchdown run by Greg James, who now has 98 yards rushing and 12 carries this afternoon.
And it demonstrates all of the abilities of James. Great cutting ability, the ability to set up blocks and cut off them, and then deceptive speed. Watch him run away from people here. He looks like he's too big at 6 feet 220 to do this, but he does. Shades of SMU with Eric Dickerson. Remember them then? Oh.
Here's Tony Franklin in to attempt the extra point conversion. And so the Patriots yards, 5 plays, assume 3 minutes and 19 seconds on the clock. The kick goes into the end zone, and there it will be downed by Walter Stanley. Total yardage this afternoon, John. Really shocking, 102 for Green Bay.
And New England, I mean, just overpowering the Green Bay defense, 373 yards total offense. And Lynn Dickey just isn't having a day, but you can't blame it on Lynn Dickey. You have to question his offensive line and the lack of a running game.
And if Dickey felt some pressure early in the game trailing by 20 points with 6:16 left to go. He's really going to see some heat now. He's back to pass, throwing deep, and it's almost intercepted. Ronnie Lippett. The pass was intended for Philip Epps.
Well, the New England Patriots have the Packers exactly where they want them. They know they're not going to run the ball. They know Dickey has to throw it. They know his offensive line hasn't been able to protect him, so those defensive backs are just going to sit back there and take it away. And look at Philip Epps. I mean, what a preseason he's had. Only 2 catches for 9 yards this afternoon.
Lofton, 1 reception. Second half, Dickey has not completed a pass in 5 attempts. And he must pass now. Gets away from Blackman. Pass is complete to James Lofton. That's all, and it's ruled incomplete.
Oh, I'm surprised because presence of mind.
First of all, now they say it is complete. One official said it was incomplete. The other said it was complete.
I was just going to say, Jim Lofton, with that presence of mind, a veteran receiver, you know, was right along the sideline, danced his feet in, and got them both in the way I saw it, so it should be a completion. Take a look at it again. Watch him dance. Watch him do a little dance here. Yeah, I'll do a little soft shoe. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Yep.
And it was the official at the top of the screen who had first ruled incomplete, but the other official said it was, and as you saw, indeed, he was in bounds. 6:04 left to go in the ball game. 1st and 10 for Green Bay. Dickey going deep, intended for Philip Epps. Oh my goodness, what a super catch.
What a catch by Epps. As a matter of fact, I thought Ronnie Lippett might have grabbed him a little bit to slow him down there. Epps just kept going, but watch, I mean, he is world-class speed. You're talking about a man who can run the 109 too. Watch Lippett here as he's going by. Just grab him a little bit, slows him down. Epps says, get away from me. I'm still going to catch the ball. Watch the concentration, 43-yard completion.
3 receptions for 52 yards now. To Philip Epps, the man who many people compare to Cliff Branch of the Los Angeles Raiders.
The man who was replacing John Jefferson.
Dickey again. He gets it as he throws. The pass is complete to Jesse Clark. Clark pulls his way over the 20 inside to about the 16-yard line. It was tackled there by John Rembert.
And you get the sense that the Packers are now waking up on offense, but is it too late? 5 minutes left, you're down 26-6.
And for one of the few times the Packers protect Dickey.
He throws to his second man too. See him looking downfield, not there. Immediately knows where to throw the ball, and then a nice move by Jesse Clark to get away.
2nd and 2. Ball at the 17-yard line of New England. Inside handoff goes to Ellis. He's tackled there by Dennis Owens as he gets down just about the 15-yard line, maybe just inside.
And there's a Packer down on the field.
4 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in the ball game. It's 1st and 10 for Green Bay at the 15-yard line of New England. Dickey going, intended for Paul Kaufman, and there's Andre Tippett knocking it away, but there is a penalty marker on the play.
Pass interference, number 56, defense, 1st down.
This is Andre Tippett. Take a look at him right there. Number 56 knocks the ball down, but before that, there was some bumping going on with Paul Kaufman.
Raymond Berry and his coaches, they're probably talking about what the Patriots are going to do the next time they get the ball.
Most likely just run out the clock and walk away with a victory.
But the Packers now trying to get on the scoreboard and get their 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. Dickey rolling out. He gets hit as he throws the ball. It's intended for Paul Kaufman. Incomplete.
You know, I was talking to Paul Kaufman the other day, and it was what surprised me, and I mentioned it before, Jim, is that the Packers have not come out with fire, especially with a man like Forrest Gregg who demands it. And Kaufman was saying to me, he was saying when Bart Starr was here, you know, he thought we could motivate ourselves. But Forrest says, you know, I'll make you play or else. But he hasn't been able to do it this afternoon.
I wonder if there'll be a lot of or else's after this game.
I would bet.
3:55 left to go in the ball game. Dickey going for Kaufman. He gets it and scores. An 8-yard touchdown pass from Lynn Dickey to Paul Kaufman. And the Packers have their second touchdown of the afternoon.
Paul Kaufman's one of his favorite targets, and it's an easy throw. Take a look at it. He backpedals. Kaufman coming across the middle, the ball thrown down, and then Kaufman just has instinct. He knows where that goal line is, turns right up for the touchdown.
Al Del Greco is in to attempt the extra point conversion for Green Bay. And with the extra point conversion, it makes it 26-13, and the Patriots now expecting an onside kick. Getting 9 men up front. And you know what? The Packers got it back. The ball was recovered by Brian Noble.
The rookie linebacker, yes, comes up with the ball, and that ball, it touched a New England Patriot player. He had a chance to come up with it. He touched it. After that, it does not have to go the 10 yards. And the Patriots come up. Remember, too, the Pack, take a look at it again. It's just a little squib. You wonder if it's even going to go 10 yards. But the Patriots touch the ball. Watch right here. Coughs it right up. That's the Tupu. Coughs it up, and then Noble comes up, and the Packers have life with 3:46 left.
One of the people on the Patriots who has, well, he has one of the best pair of hands on the club. But you saw how the ball hit him in his chest, bounced off, Noble gets it, and the Packers have the ball. Coming up next, U.S. Open Tennis Championships, the finals. McEnroe against Devon Linder. The blitz is on. Dickey is hit, and he goes deep, intended for Lofton. And it is incomplete. Ronnie Lippett on the coverage downfield for the Patriots.
And you're going to see more of that in the NFL this year. Incidental pass interference will not be called with the new rule that allows a defensive back to bump a receiver if he's looking back for the ball. And that time, take a look at it. Here, Dickey tries to unload to Lofton and get it right away. Ooh, Sims really clouts Dickey. And no pass interference call. Lippett goes off the field. And New England coming into today's game.
Here's our first final of the day. It is Seattle over Cincinnati, 28-24. Tossback goes to Harlan Huckabee. He's met by Donnie Blackman. Andre Tippett ends up with the ball, but it was ruled in.
That's not exactly what you want. I think you have to put the ball in the air and say, I'll go in all or nothing. You're down by 13 points. There's 3 minutes left in the game. I mean, forget about the run. Let's do it.
A couple of other scores. Here we are, the 49ers. They are on top. And our second final of the day, the Giants shutting out the Philadelphia Eagles, 21-0. Here's Dickey back to pass. Throws across the middle. Intended and complete to Paul Kaufman. Donnie Blackman on the tackle.
The clock becomes a real factor now. He doesn't have time to throw long, so he's trying to find Kaufman, set up the long pass. But, of course, New England knows that. 2:43 left in the game.
But wouldn't you think he would throw those short or medium passes, maybe out to the sidelines?
To try and get out of bounds or else use his timeouts. He's got to move his team. He can't be taking this much time in the huddle.
Fourth and 7. The blitz is on, and Dickey goes down again. Garen Veras. Toss back to Mosi Tutupu. And Tutupu is tackled by Robert Brown.
And I had a real sense that Forrest Gregg was confident coming into this game against his old teammate and his Green Bay as the Giants go to Lambeau Field.
2nd and 4 for New England. Here's the tossback. This is Weathers. And he puts his shoulder into New England. I'm very happy to see that. And they're very happy to see the performance of their Patriots this afternoon. Tatupu, the ball carrier. There's a fumble on the play. And the Packers get it back.
Packers have another shot. Down by 13, 1:52 left, and have to work some magic to get back in this.
John Dorsey coming up with the fumble recovery for Green Bay. You know, you think about the contest this afternoon. Lynn Dickey said he wanted someone to rush for 85, maybe 90 yards. They've only had 30 yards rushing. New England, 170 yards rushing. Total yards, Green Bay 153. New England a whopping 382 yards. Here's Dickey back to pass to the near sidelines, intended for Philip Epps, in and out of his hands.
It's just been one of those afternoons. Just another example of the frustration that Green Bay's felt. That ball was catchable by Epps, just drops it. And Dickey's wondering what he can do with 2 timeouts left for both teams.
The crowd here acknowledges the final score. The Houston Oilers defeating the Miami Dolphins 26-23.
Houston may be for real. Warren Moon, Mike Rozier and company.
And what a shot in the arm it is to the Patriots. Flag on the play. Looks like Julius false start against the quarterback. 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go in the ball game. Flags are down as the pass is complete to Jesse Clark. Clark is tackled by Ronnie Lippett at about the 32-yard line.
You know, Jim, you talk about the lift it is for New England with Miami losing. How about the downer for the Packers? The Giants winning 21-0, and they have to face each other next week.
75, offense, still second down.
The executive producer of the NFL on CBS's Terry O'Neill. Today's game produced by Charles H. Milton III. Directed by Larry Kobitlina. Mark Wolf, the associate producer. And thank you, everyone, for helping us here at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. You think Easton is happy?
I would say, after a performance, 21 completions for 241 yards. Good afternoon.
And on the other side of the coin, a not so good afternoon for Lynn Dickey, who's going there for Philip Epps.
Can you believe that? Minnesota 21-21. Anderson with a 1-yard touchdown to tie the score. You know, emotion plays such an important part. Bud Grant coming back to Minnesota. They're at home against the Super Bowl champions, certainly the class of the NFL, yet they're tied 21-21 in the fourth quarter.
Coming up next, the U.S. Open Tennis Championships, the men's singles finals. John McEnroe against Ivan Lendl. And that will be a terrific match.
Big Mac is hot.
This pass complete to Gary Ellis. There's another flag on the play. Ellis is tackled by Don Blackman and John Rembert. So here at the end of the game, things getting under Raymond Berry. Dickey gets hit as he throws again. The pass is intended for Ellis. It's incomplete. Fred Marion in defending for New England.
And, you know, talking to Forrest Gregg, he said, you have to contain this man, Tony Easton, if you're going to win. They haven't contained him. He's thrown for 241 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But more than that, he's just controlled the tempo of the game. He ball control. He ran the ball well with Tony Collins and Craig James. And he passed it when he had to and got the big play right before the half, which I think was the difference. That touchdown before the half took the air out of the Green Bay balloon.
And you could see him really maturing on the field. You could see him looking the field, surveying the field completely, completing his passes. But Lynn Dickey, he has got to be sore, disgusted. Stefan Nasaring is back to receive the punt from the Green Bay Packers, Joe Prokop. A flag is down. The ball is popped loose. And there is a flag. There is a flag on the play. Kenneth Sims.
Running into the kicker, number 77. First down.
Kenneth Sims ran into Prokop, and that will give the Packers a first down. So Kenneth Sims, you will see it. You see it right here, the fourth-year man from the University of Texas.
Take a look at him right here. After the kick, Sims catches his left arm, not much of a hitch. Try to avoid him, but still a penalty. Of course, Kenneth Sims, they're expecting so much of him. #1 draft choice in the entire draft back in '82, really hasn't fulfilled his potential.
Who recovered the fumble after Stephen Starring fumbled it. 1 minute and 3 seconds left to go in the game. The Packers have the ball at the Patriots' 44-yard line. This pass is complete to Gary Ellis. Ellis is tackled by Rod McSwain. Coming up next, U.S. Open Tennis Championships, the men's singles finals, and it promises to be a great one. John McEnroe against Ivan Lendl. This pass is complete to Philip Epps, who gets out of bounds. Epps gets to the 23-yard line of the Patriots. Julius Adams putting tremendous pressure, as the rest of the New England Patriot defense has done all afternoon long on Lynn Dickey. 34 seconds left in the ball game.
You know, in that tennis coming up next on here on CBS, my question is, remember McEnroe yesterday, he had that 5-set match in 100-plus degree heat against Wielander. I have to wonder if he'll be drained while Ivan Lendl got by Jimmy Connors, who sprained his ankle. So it should be interesting to see if he can go deep inside himself and find the wherewithal to win that.
There's a draw play to Jesse Clark. That's a good block from Ellis. Jesse Clark gets in the touchdown, and the Green Bay Packers have their third touchdown of the afternoon. "23 yards.
This game gets interesting, Jim. We've seen miracle finishes before. The New England defense that time just looked like they were going through the motion, saying someone else will tackle him. Take a look at Jesse Clark again. Simple draw play. Watch the New England defense. Not very aggressive, kind of loafing around. Good block up front. And look, he's in slow motion, but nobody's really trying to make the tackle, and he takes it in for a score. And now they're 26-19. It could be 26-20 with an onside kick possibility.
And the conversion by Al Del Greco.
The ball back, the Packers do. They go deep downtown to James Lofton, 6'3", in the end zone, pulls it down, ties the score, extra point, wins it for the Packers, 27-26. All that in 25 seconds of play. What do you think?
If the Patriots agree.
We'll find out.
You know, one of the things you want to make sure you get on an onside kick from Del Greco is that you get the ball to bounce. You have to get it to roll and then bounce, take one of those crazy hops, and you know, maybe get up in the air so you have an opportunity for people to go and to knock people around. We'll find out, because here's action time. And it goes out of bounds.
And there's a fight. Wise choice by the New England Patriots to allow it to go out of bounds. They saw it was
the Patriots with 10 men up front. And here we go again. Another flag. The ball did not go 10 yards. See, that's what I was talking about, Jim. You have to hit. Now he gives it, and here we go again. And this time, Tutupu does hold on to the onside kick. The Patriots have the ball, and they have the lead.
2 timeouts left for the Packers. Lynn Dickey can't be very optimistic or happy about the day.
Because this score does not reflect, really, the way the game was played.
Really, the Patriots dominated. The Packers breakdowns in all areas of their game. Their offense didn't play well. Their defense, they had 2 kicks blocked, an extra point and a field goal. Takes the air out of your balloon. All phases of their game are going to have to be picked up for next week when they play the Giants.
And Raymond Berry, who has to take his club to Chicago to take on those tough Bears next week. Eason will just take the snap from center, go down on a knee. And the Packers call another timeout.
Philosophies.
19 seconds left. Eason again goes down on one knee. And that's going to do it. So two former teammates and friends meet on the opposite side of the field. And this game